Most people believe massive change arrives like lightning, sudden, loud, unforgettable. But history whispers something very different. Change usually begins almost invisibly, a single choice, repeated quietly, while nobody else is paying attention. Every towering forest once started as a seed buried beneath cold darkness. Every athlete admired worldwide once struggled through lonely mornings nobody ever witnessed. And every life transformed forever began with one painfully small, consistent decision. A man wakes before sunrise, not because he feels motivated, but because he promised himself. Outside, the city still sleeps beneath rain-soaked streets and flickering streetlights. He runs only 1 mile at first, slow, exhausted, almost embarrassed by the pace. Nobody applauds him. Nobody notices him. Honestly, nobody cares yet. But the next morning, he runs again, even though nothing visibly changed overnight. Then again, and again. Quiet repetitions stacking like invisible bricks beneath the surface. Weeks pass slowly. The mirror barely changes. His doubts grow louder each evening. Most people quit exactly here, where progress feels invisible and painfully insignificant. Because human beings crave dramatic proof that effort actually means something. But nature has never worked that way, and neither does transformation. Water can split enormous canyon walls, not through force, but through persistence. Tiny roots crack solid concrete over years of relentless, patient pressure beneath the ground. A candle flame appears weak until it survives the entire night untouched. Small actions carry a hidden power most people underestimate far too early. The problem is, results often arrive silently, after patience has almost completely disappeared. Think about that for a second. A single missed workout changes nothing. One unhealthy meal changes nothing. One wasted afternoon barely leaves a mark on your future at all. But repeated daily for years, those tiny moments quietly become your entire destiny. The terrifying part is, the opposite is also painfully true. One page read every night seems meaningless at first glance. Saving a small amount weekly feels laughably slow in the beginning. Practicing one skill daily can even feel boring, repetitive, almost pointless. Until one day, people suddenly call you talented, disciplined, successful, extraordinary. They see the outcome, but never the invisible repetitions buried underneath the surface. That's why consistency feels so lonely in the early chapters of growth. There are no dramatic movie scenes during the beginning. No triumphant music, no cheering crowds, just ordinary moments repeated relentlessly. A woman sits beside a dim kitchen light, learning one new language phrase nightly. At first, she forgets words almost immediately after studying them. Months later, conversations begin flowing naturally without translation inside her mind. Not because of genius, not because of luck, because repetition rewired her completely. And here's the strange truth nobody talks about enough. Massive change rarely feels massive while it's happening. It feels boring, quiet, repetitive, sometimes even disappointing. The greatest transformations often hide inside routines people are tempted to abandon too early. Because consistency does something dramatic beneath the surface long before visible results appear. It reshapes identity. The runner no longer becomes someone trying to exercise occasionally. He becomes a person who runs, regardless of emotion, weather, or temporary motivation. And identity changes everything afterward. Because once behavior becomes part of who you are, resistance weakens dramatically. That's the real shift people miss while chasing overnight success stories online. Monumental change is usually invisible, until suddenly it isn't. A crack forms inside the dam after years of mounting pressure. Bamboo spends years growing underground before erupting upward almost overnight. Stars themselves are born slowly, through pressure building silently across unimaginable stretches of time. And maybe your own life works exactly the same way right now. Maybe the small habits you dismiss today are quietly building tomorrow's reality already. Maybe the invisible work matters more than the visible rewards ever could. Because every masterpiece, every empire, every extraordinary life was built twice. First internally, through repeated choices, then externally, where the world finally notices the result. So the next time progress feels painfully slow, remember this: mountains are shaped by tiny movements nobody can see while they happen. And your future may already be changing, one small, consistent step at a time. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end.